So, Tyler, you ready to do this again?
Again.
So thank you for joining us on Classic Vinyl Podcast, and this week we're going to do hit song from the Zombies, She's Not There. No one told me about her.
They didn't?
No, the way she lied.
I mean, there's a bro code, right? You need to warn a guy if a girl's a man-eater.
I agree, and like you said earlier, you thought this was kind of the man-eater song of the 60s, you know, kind of pre-Hall & Oates man-eater song of the 80s.
Yes, it is.
So what is your history with this song?
This song has all kinds of radio play and all kinds of pop culture play. This has been used in background of all kinds of stuff, and it's a really good song.
Yeah, Zombies got a few decent songs that I've liked, and they were kind of a short-lived band, but let me give you a little bit of history about the Zombies, the band. They're a British rock band formed in 1961. So they were formed originally of Colin Blunstone on vocals, Rod Argent on keyboards and vocals, Paul Atkinson on guitars, Hugh Grundy on drums, and Paul Arnold on bass. He was actually replaced, Paul Arnold was, by Chris White early on in the band's history. Now, the band's name was originally the Mustangs, but they actually had to change that band name because there was another band named the Mustangs, and they changed it to the Zombies, which I think is a better name anyways.
Yeah.
So they signed a contract with Decca Records in 1962, and that kind of come about because Decca had famously rejected the Beatles, and it kind of bit them. And so Decca went after a lot of the big British bands like Rolling Stones, the Zombies, and they've got some big artists, I think. So.
Yeah. They decided to not make that mistake twice. We're going to sign everybody.
And they did well with a lot of the people they signed. But so the Zombies were famously part of the second wave of the British invasion. They pretty much come to the U.S. and toured the U.S. in 1965.
The reinforcements.
So all in all, the band has released 9 studio albums. But the funny thing about that is they only released 2 of those albums in the 60s, the decade they're most famous for, along with another album called R.I.P. that they actually recorded in 1968, but did not get released until the year 2000.
So they only had 2 albums in the 60s?
Correct. 7 of the 9 albums they released were released after the year 1990. They did have 1 EP they released in 1964. They've released a total of 6 live albums and 20 compilation albums, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So the band split up in 1967. They got back together for just a short time in 1969, and that's when Rod Argent left and formed the band known as Argent in 1969. They had one pretty famous hit called Hold Your Head Up that was a big hit in the 70s. Multiple reunions for this group over the years, but the 4 surviving members got back together in 2017 to tour for their 50th anniversary of Odyssey and Oracle. That's an album we actually did previous on this podcast. All of them are still alive, I believe, except Paul Atkinson, who died in 2004. After only releasing 2 albums in the 60s and 7 other albums that people really don't know much about unless you're a diehard Zombies fan, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2019 after being nominated 3 times. And what's kind of crazy about that is, not saying these guys don't deserve it, but there are so many bands, and I harp on this so many times, but there are so many bands that deserve it more than the Zombies, in my opinion, that haven't even got a look, and it's kind of a shame.
Yeah, I mean, these guys got nominated 3 times and then got inducted. And how many people have never been nominated but should be?
Yeah, that's why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, for about the 1,000th time that I've said on this podcast, is a bullshit sham. But the Zombies are still touring today with Rod Argent, Colin Blunstone, Steve Rodford, Tom Toomey, and Soren Koch. Or Coach, I guess. I'm not sure how you say his name, but they are still touring today, and one of the few bands that has a couple of the main original members, which is important because there are some 60s bands out there touring that don't have any of their original members.
Yeah, there's a few of them.
Yeah. So do you want to get to the song review?
Let's do.
And now it's time for the song review.
So, of course, today we're doing Zombies and their hit song, She's Not There. Now, this was the band's debut single that was released on July 24th of 1964. The B-side of the single was a song called You Make Me Feel Good. It was written by Rod Argent and sang by Colin Blunstone. Most of the songs that you know from the Zombies are sang by Colin for the most part. And although this was released as a single, which was kind of commonplace in Britain at the time to release standalone singles that didn't hit albums, this one actually did end up being on the band's debut album called Begin Here. At least in the UK, that was what the album name was. Of course, at the time it was common for British bands to release different albums in the US, and their debut album in the US that had this song as well was just self-titled. It was just called The Zombies, and it basically had the same song lineup, a couple different songs, but pretty much the same. So this song was recorded at Decca West Hampstead Studio No. 2 in London, England, and produced by Ken Jones. And of course, the band lineup as this song was recorded was Colin Blunstone on lead vocals, Rod Argent on the Hohner electric piano, which is actually the lead instrument in this song, Paul Atkinson on guitar, Chris White on bass, and Hugh Grundy on drums. Now, this song did really well in the U.S. and Canada, charted at number 2 in both U.S. and Canada, and only hit number 12 in the U.K. in their homeland.
That's surprising.
So the lyrics by Rod Argent were inspired from a John Lee Hooker song called No One Told Me. I did listen to that song because I read that he had kind of got the inspiration from that, and you can kind of hear it there, but it's not like a copy or anything. It just kind of has the same feel to it.
Just kind of inspired by it.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the lyrics tell a story of an alluring woman who refuses to be tied down to one man.
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does not want to be tied down. And the singer is wanting us to know everything about her, right?
Yeah.
He's telling us all about her appearance and how she acts and all that stuff, but he can only really describe them with words because guess what? The title of the song, she's not there.
She's gone, man. She's already moved on.
Yeah, she's moved on, but he's kind of smitten with her, obviously, and you can tell from the lyric. So Rolling Stone has ranked this song as high as 297th on the top 500, which is fair.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say about that top 500 lineup of songs is it changes all the time, and truly it shouldn't change except for the release of new songs. You know, I don't see how a song from 1964 can be 297 one year and then 400 the next year.
Well, it sounds like somebody's just kind of letting their emotions drive them.
Yeah, well, and it's songs that when people get tired of hearing them, they don't get voted on as well, right?
No, exactly, yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but this song was inducted into Grammy Hall of Fame in 2016, and it's been covered by a lot of artists. Two most popular are probably Santana and Vanilla Fudge, and it's been used. I was reading the list of how many movies and TV shows and commercials it's been used in. Quite a few, funny enough. So
this gets a lot of play.
It does. I think not a lot of people would know who the Zombies are if they're not, into classic rock music, but I think most of them have heard this song and know the tune.
Yeah.
So after listening to She's Not There with the intent of rating it or breaking it down, Tyler, what are your thoughts on this song?
I'm absolutely thrilled with the opening of this song because apart from our theme music at the beginning of this podcast, I don't see a lot of songs that have a bass opening. But this one comes right out of the gate with a bass, and I really like that because it's something that's a little different, but it also lays down that it's kind of like laying down the track for the train, right? Yeah. Like this is the beat, the rhythm that we're going with, and then the drums come in, then the guitar and the keyboard, and the keyboard really shines. It between the keyboard and the bass, those are the stars of the show. The vocals, Colin Blunstone has a beautiful tenor voice, and it's so perfect. He sings about that nobody told him about this girl, even though everybody knew about it. That she kind of a man-eater. She comes in, and I mean, she's beautiful, and she's just a real gorgeous person, and he's smitten with her, but she's hard and fast. She moves on before you even know it. And she's already gone. He's like, I could tell you how amazing this girl is. She's just, so beautiful, but it doesn't do any good because she's not there.
You wouldn't have thought he would have even needed to write a song about her because I'm sure everyone knew about this girl.
Yeah, and since she's getting around.
Yeah, the town trollop.
Yeah, everybody knew about her, but nobody told him.
Yeah, he was the one left out, apparently. Rod Argent, actually.
Mm-hmm. So, inspiring.
Yeah.
Is it inspiring? I don't know, Ty. It leaves me thinking, well, where's the bro code, man? I mean, somebody should have warned this guy.
Well, at least he's warning everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, the guy made a hit song warning everybody else.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is about a real girl.
Oh, I bet it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it is.
We know that girl. That being said, it's a great song. It's just fun to listen to, jam along with. What are your thoughts about this one?
I've always enjoyed this song. There's really only 3 or 4 zombie songs I like, and it's their hit. Odyssey and Oracle, if you go back to that episode we rated, I'm not a big fan of that album, and it's taken on cult status and people love it. I don't get it. It's just an album I have never gotten. It's lost on me. So
Well, it is the time of the season for loving.
yeah, I guess so. And I love that song. You know,
Yeah.
I love Time of the Season. I love Tell Her No. I love She's Not There. Those are three good hit songs. But and I have tried their other stuff, and I just don't enjoy it. And Odyssey and Oracle, I had a couple nasty emails about how low I rated it, and
Ouch.
it is what it is. It's just for some reason that one never worked with me. But this song is a great song. You brought it up. The bass and the electric piano opening is perfect on the intro, and those are the two stars through the whole song.
Oh, in fact, I forgot to mention that there is this keyboard solo in there that's just a nice little interlude. It's not a long one like you get in some songs, but I thought it was perfect. Perfect fit.
It's a short little song, and you brought up Colin Blunstone's voice. He's got a beautiful, airy tenor voice. That's the one thing I enjoy about most of the zombie songs is his voice. Just the way he sings. I don't know if that's a production thing or because I've heard him sing other things, and it doesn't sound quite the same, but on most of the zombies, especially their hits, it's kind of an airy tenor voice, and I really enjoy it. It adds something to the song. I like the imagery from the lyrics. You know, her voice was soft and cool, her eyes were clear and bright. He goes into all that, the way she acted, the color in her hair, and color in her hair has got to be spelled COLOUR, I'm sure.
Oh, there's definitely a U in there.
Yeah, there's got to be a U in there, but it's very descriptive. It's easy to follow. You can tell he's been hurt by her, but he still admires her and really wants her, and I'm sure he'd take her back.
Well, sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's lusting after her, and she's forgotten his name and went on to someone else. But it's a great song. There's not much guitar in this song. It is overtaken by the electric piano and the bass. The drums are okay. They're a little tinny, but they're pretty snappy in it. For a 1964 song, I think the drums are mixed pretty well in it. Like you said, the electric piano solo in the middle, it's short and sweet, but it fits. And the one thing is it doesn't fade out or anything. It's got a straight cut-off ending. Just ends.
Yeah, it does. It's perfect. And you know what I'm going to say something that I think is a little odd to hear, but this is the same song as The Offspring's Self-Esteem. But it's not. It's a totally different genre.
Yeah, it's done 60s style instead of 90s style. Yeah,
totally. But it's the same song.
It really is. If anyone knows that song, this is the same story.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that. Yeah, no doubt about it. So, do you want to get to the song rating?
Let's rate it.
Song rating.
Okay, listener, if this is your first episode, our rating system, I'll explain briefly, is a 0 to 10 scale, 10 being the best. And I put this one at a pretty solid 8. And I thought, no, do I really like this song enough to put it up at an 8? But I can't rate it lower, even though it's not necessarily a song I dig that high. It's so like listening to the way that it's performed, the way that it's put together, the way it's written, the way it captures all of that. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful work of art, and it's so well done. It's not a superstar of a song, but it's a great song that's very competently done. And so I put it at an 8. Where do you put it, Justin?
I don't rate it quite as high as you, and maybe that's my fault because it's one of those I suffer a little bit of ear burn on, but I rate this song a 7. And it's a good song. The Zombies aren't a band I really visit much because I don't really care for them, but their few hits I like hearing in my playlist here and there, and you hear them on the radio regardless if you want to or not. So I think their hits are definitely worth exploring, and a lot of people think Odyssey and Oracle's one of the best albums of all time. So have at it. I disagree with you wholeheartedly, but have at it.
To each their own, man.
So that's the Zombies and She's Not There, and once again, we really appreciate you taking your time to listen to us. It means a lot. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, want to send us a song to review, send it to classicvinylpodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, see you later.
See ya.
Thank you so much for listening to Classic Vinyl Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Classic Vinyl Podcast for updates, and also share us with your music-loving friends.